For cheap games, check out g2a.com, link in description. Hey, what's up people of the internet? I'm the Russian Sniper and this is some Battlefield 4, and today we're going to talk about things that I would like to see happen in Battlefield 5 if that's going to be the next game that's going to be announced at some point this year. Now, we do have some leaked emails and all sorts of misinformation out on the internet that the guy in 2015 in the summer play tested along with 100 other people, play tested a game that yet it could be Battlefield 2143. By the description of it, what he mentioned and everything, that can only be a 2143. Keep in mind that this is apparently leaked information. It could just maybe be the case of some guy being really bored in his mum's bedroom, decided to create an email and just put it out on the internet to create a little bit of buzz. But then again, you can read it for yourself and see what you think of it and make up your own mind. As for the list of the things that I would like to see in Battlefield 5, the number one priority should be a stable launch. That is the first things on the list. Battlefield 3 was pretty bad when it came out, but it's nothing compared to what Battlefield 4 when it came out. It took them forever to get Battlefield 4 to what it is today, and even though they've had huge improvements over the game, it's still nowhere near as good as Battlefield 4 should have been if they had a lot of time to work on it. If they spent more time polishing and paying more attention to the game, this game could have been one of the best Battlefields that we've had so far. But it was not the case. It's still got plenty of bugs. There's still tons of people playing it. It's just not as good as it could have been. The next thing I would like to see happen in Battlefield 5 is proper map design. Map design in Battlefield 4 is pretty boring. There's not really anything going on in most of the maps. It's just a big old open map with no cover and nothing really happening apart from a few maps, which is the one I'm playing right now, which is Dawnbreaker. That's got a couple of buildings, and that most of these maps like Hainan Resort, the Lankan Dam, Parasol Storm, and I can just keep going. Most of these maps are just big open maps with an AA in the middle of it, absolutely ruining sort of gameplay for anybody that loves flying or anything like that. It just, there's no thought process into it. Just stick out a big map, that's it, there's no cover anywhere, it don't really matter, it just works. You know, it doesn't really work. You need to pay attention to the map. You need to make sure the map works on particular game mode. Some of them work well on Conquest, some of them will work well on Rush. And with the gap that they had since Battlefield 4, I mean, I know they had people working on the CTE and they've got plenty of other stuff that came out in Battlefield 4. I would imagine they would have spent a lot of time and effort making sure that the game does work and the maps are actually fun maps to play and they're not being dominated by certain things. The next item I'd like to see happen in Battlefield 5 would be a good netcode. The netcode was one of the things that every single person I knew playing Battlefield was just complaining about, getting shot around corners and getting shot in weird places, the one-shot kills and so many other bugs that was happening in Battlefield 4. Those are the things that they really need to work on and make sure that when it comes down to the launch, that thing doesn't happen anymore. Because let's face it, the latest game that came out, Battlefield Hardline, it's seen by a lot of people, it's seen as a flop. It's not really a Battlefield game, but hey, let's just call it Battlefield because it might sell a few more units. And Battlefront, even though that's a beautiful looking game and it plays amazing, it's just lack of content's just not there. And I think that might be a trend for things to come, but we just have to wait and see. Number 4 on my list of things I would like to see happen in Battlefield 5, even though let us presume that it's not 2143 and it's going to be a completely new Battlefield. The information that we know so far is that it's going to be a fun new Battlefield and it's going to go back to its roots and it's going to be a military style shooter. Now, military style shooter for me, personally, I'm kind of sick of the futuristic modern day warfare and all that sort of stuff. I'd like to see it go back to the war, maybe go back to World War II, maybe go back to Vietnam, have Vietnam 2, have something like that happen. I think a lot of fans and a lot of fans of the franchise, older fans that have played those types of games, would absolutely love to see something like that happen in Battlefield 5. Next order of business, soldier customization. There isn't really a lot of customization in Battlefield 4 apart from your camos, and that's pretty much it. I'd love to see something where you can customize your soldier the way you want. You can have all sorts of different armors for him. You can have different headgear, different kind of pants, different kind of jackets. You can have all sorts of things for it, and that kind of customization, I think it's going to appeal to a lot of the Battlefielders out there, just because you'll have that feeling of being unique. You're playing on a 64 server map and you've seen tons and tons of different other guys dressed differently, different camos, different gear, headgear, so on and so forth. And I think that's going to be something really cool, and a lot of people will enjoy having a proper customizable soldier. And the last order of business for today is vehicles. Vehicles need a lot of TLC. They need a lot of tender loving care. And the reason for that is most of the vehicles just simply did not work properly. If you remember when the DLCs from Battlefield 3 came out into Battlefield 4 and some of the maps like the Gulf of Oman, Caspian Border, so on and so forth, you had jets unable to take off because the runway was too short. You ended up crashing at the end of the runway because you wouldn't have enough lift and enough power to actually take off the runway. And the tanks, same thing happened to the tanks. The tanks in Battlefield 3 were really powerful assets, and everybody looked after their tank as much as they can. Think of Damavan Peak, think of just so many other maps, think of Grand Bazaar and a lot of the maps out there. They're really good on infantry. You can have a lot of fun in those games, but you also had that one tank that you really need to pay attention to, because he could really just get behind you and decimate squads after squads. I remember getting into certain spots where you could get 10, 20, 30 guys in a tank just like that, because I kept it alive and I backed out and I had engineers fixing me. While in Battlefield 4, it don't really matter if you shot me down. I'll just head back and I'll get another tank out of the 5 waiting for me back at spawn. In Battlefield 5, DICE needs to find a middle ground. Vehicles need to be far more effective than any single soldier, that's their point, but less effective as the numbers rack up against them. In Battlefield 5, what DICE should be doing is finding more ways for squads to work together. A well-coordinated squad can literally hammer any vehicles at any time of the day as long as you work together, and Battlefield 5 is the perfect place for this to happen. Do not think I've forgotten Destruction. Destruction is a part of the Battlefield game, and it's been a part of it since day one. And it's something that should be automatically implied, that destruction should be a huge part of what a Battlefield game should be all about. So that's it for me for today. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed the video. If you have, go ahead and post a comment. Let me know some of the things you'd love to see happening in Battlefield 5. And let us hope that within the next couple of weeks or month or so, we will see a little teaser, a little trailer, letting us know what the next Battlefield game is going to be. Is it going to be Battlefield 5? There's a Armageddon sort of named floating around the internet. Is it going to be Battlefield 5? Is it going to be 2143? Is it going to be Bad Company 3? We'll just have to wait a little bit longer and we'll find out. And I'll leave you with one last piece of advice before you go. If you are the captain of the ship and you end up taking somebody's vehicle, then you will go down with the ship. You will not just abandon it and leave it to somebody like me who will keep it alive for the whole match. Even though we are playing on hardcore, I'll keep it alive and decimate your troops as much as I can.
1, 2, 1, 2.